Welcome, everyone, to another edition of. Well, I don't really have a name for the show. It's the NWA Powerrr Recap. And joining me is a special guest, all the way from the Wrestling Underground and ComicCorp. He's one of the best, co hosts in the business. I was going to call you a color guy because that's what you call color commentators, but then I realized that might have a negative connotation I'm
Little,
not going for.
little on the nose.
Yeah, a little on the nose. Like, but joining me is Marcus Green. Marcus, welcome to. I called it Tuesday night something, and then I called it Tuesday night fights, and I don't even know what the fuck we're calling this show.
Yeah, man, I'm here, man. Appreciate you inviting me on. I know it's, probably more time efficient to, shoot out your opinion real quick on this stuff and get it on out the way. But yeah, appreciate you having me on to talk about this stuff.
28 minutes last week. Super efficient. For 6 seconds segments. Super fucking efficient. By the by, while we record this, I'm watching the This Is Impact special on Twitch, and I'm in love with this, and I'll probably be doing a little quickie review of this because there's so many small little nuances I love about this. Marcus, we're hitting this beat by beat just like we did the last few weeks. So we're going to start with the opener. We have Jim Cornette getting harassed by Eddie Kingston. This made so many fans' night, I would assume. He comes out and cuts a promo about the the two fat dudes. I don't even know their names. I'm not sure their names are that relevant. But they're getting super pushed, and I don't know why. Thoughts on the opener with Kingston and the steady build-up with these brothers that Kingston and Homicide have an issue with?
Yeah, I mean, Kingston always pops off the screen just because he has a presence about himself and he just very reckless at the mouth. As the Dawsons very much coming off like a more heavier set, more disheveled looking version of the Revival. Not exactly like you, not really into those guys. I know I get that you kind of need villains in that regard, but I feel like one Kingston can practically hold that spot by himself, and then you bring along Homicide, and that just creates a instant tandem of chaos. So I get it, but for me, a lot of the momentum is very one sided, and that's what Kingston's side. So.
Yeah, Kingston. I really got into his work back in I think it was like 2011 when he was doing his run as Shikara's Grand Champion. He's a fantastic worker, fantastic promo guy. The problem that I see with this is that these brothers, I already forget their names because they're very forgettable, are just that. They're not a great vibe. Like these are someone that I think Billy Corgan wishes were more over than they are. And when you realize that you have Kingston and Homicide, you have, I guess now we'll talk about them, Anderson and Cabana. You're gonna have a very veteran team showing up later on in the day. You got this Bram and whatever his other name is. You got some other tag teams. I don't think you need to be leaning so heavy on these guys, these brothers, that is. So that's just my takeaway. Our first match, though, is Marty Bell versus Crystal Rose. They credit Crystal Rose for being very big into the grunge scene. I think they even called her Skid Row for whatever reason. Marty Bell, though, we're very familiar with. She's former Impact talent, former member of the Dollhouse. She's right alongside Taryn Terrell and Jade, and then eventually I think Awesome Kong joined the Dollhouse, or the Awesome Kong was part of the Dollhouse, and then she got replaced with Taryn Terrell. I forget which way it was. I think it's the latter. Marcus, good to see Marty Bell back. This is her debut for NWA. Crystal Rose looked all right. She's there for an enhancement talent. I think she did her job pretty well. What do you think of the opener?
Yeah, I mean it was nothing to blew me out the water or anything, but I think it was a solid exhibition match. It was good for me personally to see Marty Bell again. I haven't really seen her a lot since Impact. I mean she's obviously been very active, um, since her days in Impact, which was years ago. But in terms of just seeing her in this fashion, she looked good. She looked good, and obviously, this is a place for her to really gain some momentum as this particular division is building in NWA, and she's got some size on, and obviously she can go. Like you said, the Miss Rose was obviously there to kind of enhance more, and I think she, like you said, she did her job. So.
Marty Bell's also a Cleveland sports fan. At the very least, she's a Cleveland Indians fan, so that'll always make her someone that I would rep. Just putting it out like I see it. We then get these Dawson. Is that their name? Dawsons? I feel like that's the
Yeah,
name.
the Dawsons, the bearded Bashams.
Oh, that's a great name. They should have called themselves the Bearded Bashams. They could add Doug Basham and Danny. What was his name? Damager. Ugh, what a name. They could have been their managers. I think Doug Basham's no longer with OVW. I know he was running it for a little while. I think he left when Al Snow bought it. But yeah, so we have these Dawson brothers, and I don't know. They kind of look like cosplaying AOP.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like one looks like Josephus from 2018. The other one looks like Amish Roadkill from 2000. I'm just not vibing with these guys. Their promos are pretty. It's just loud noises. I don't know.
Yeah, and it drowns it out when you have not only more efficient heel tag teams, but more dynamic personalities, both singular and mixed. I mean, look, you can, I'm not a huge fan of Cabana, but him and Anderson can run circles around these dudes
Yeah.
any day of the week. So,
These guys would be better served getting a manager. I think.
yeah,
I think that would be the case. We then get this amazing hype promo for Thunder Rosa. She, for some of you'll recognize her from Lucha Underground. She did some work there. I think she was Cobra Moon in Lucha.
yeah, yeah,
And she's been rocking the Dia de los Muertes face paint for about 5-6 years now. I think I
yeah.
remember seeing her in an old PWI, not old, it's not that old, like 3 or 4 years ago in a Pro Wrestling Illustrated write-up, and following her career from then on. And I find her very cool. She's got grappling abilities, she's athletic enough, and she has a unique personality. I know a lot of people will be like, "Hey, she's Darby Allin." No, she's not. Darby Allin wishes she was as cool as she was. I think she's even bigger than Darby Allin, truthfully. Darby Allin's all of 95 pounds. What'd you think of Thunder Rosa's big old promo thing?
I like the fact that we're getting especially for me seeing her like this, because I got kind of consistently familiar with her under the Cobra Moon gimmick. Um, and even with that, she didn't necessarily have a lot of in-ring action. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she does in the ring with this this gimmick that she's been running with for a long time now. Obviously outside of that Cobra Moon thing, which I would imagine she's more comfortable with. So it's good. The only thing I didn't like was I'm like, are they deliberately trying to cause epilepsy with this? Like Jesus, okay, we get it. The two sided face thing, we get it. But Jesus, yeah. But other than that, man, I'm definitely looking forward to it. She's gonna add some much needed variety, to the division.
They were trying to do that shtick where they move the image so fast it looks like she has the face paint on both sides of her face, but they didn't go
Yeah,
fast enough, so it just seemed a little bit nauseating.
yeah.
Dude, watching this is Impact special is crazy. D'Lo Brown is on my screen, and I keep having to remind myself it's not ESPN. It's not Sports Center.
As
Da da
soon as you
da
mention,
da da da.
as soon as you mention him, all I can just imagine is just a bald black dude walking out, just wheeling his head from side to side, random.
Sitting there next to a puppet going da 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 da.
It was the first time I ever saw him. I thought something was wrong with him. But he's fine.
Yeah, he has epilepsy from this NWA Powerrr gimmick. Speaking of things that'll make you what? We have Joe Galley interviewing Aaron Stevens, the former Damian Sandow. I like what they're doing with him. I don't know if everyone's going to because this is kind of one of those hit or miss things. But him coming out in a pirate shtick and like the fans, calling him names and calling him Captain Morgan. He's like, "I am not Captain Morgan." Then he hits the Captain Morgan pose, like that. Marcus, I love this dumb shit. I find it so funny. What did you think about it though?
I'm mildly entertained and mostly annoyed for some reason. Like, what? But it's some entertaining spots in there. Like because I liked him as the intellectual, and then he definitely won everybody over with his stun double gimmick. But this kind of feels like a mix of that intellectual with a bit of that gimmick he had in Impact, which flopped for me.
Oh yeah, the Liberace gimmick.
Yeah, that was horrible. So it's a little bit of that, but I think he's mixing more of the intellectual in there along with this acting thing, which it's kind of my annoyance because we had to kind of hit a couple of his promos, which was like this kind of wasting time for me with this horrible CGI. Um, but yeah, I mean he clearly tuned in, one of the better talkers obviously on the show, and his ability to spar back and forth with the crowd, which can only enhance talent on this show, is definitely going to keep him, one of the more popular acts for sure.
And that's something I wanted to touch on because they did do this awful segment where they had um, Damien Sandow show off his new movie, and it's this awful like CGI fucking rowboat and like this terrible ocean with just like this hammy actress like overplaying. I loved it because it's supposed to be awful, and it was. So I'm very much a fan. Next up, we have Caleb Conley versus Dan Parker. Dan Parker looked like the Red Rooster minus the mohawk, so
Eh,
points taken off for that one. But Dan Parker's entrance attire looked pretty damn good. My problem is his name. You're Dan Parker? Are you my neighbor? Like that's not a wrestling name. Like
my car,
boo.
um, yeah, my car insurance representative or whatever. Oh, the guy the insurance pays him.
Are you representing Aaron Rodgers for State Farm? Like what are you doing? Caleb Connolly, who himself was an enhancement talent in week one, is now out here using Dan Parker as an enhancement talent. I don't mind pushing Caleb Connolly. I think he's very much of that Dean Malenko, maybe not on that level talent-wise, because that's like one of a kind. But he's of that
Yeah,
Dean Malenko type where he's super talented in the ring, and you can definitely
yeah,
get a lot out of him. But he's not very charismatic, which is fine because you have enough guys on the roster who are. But I don't understand why you had to do Caleb Connolly as enhancement talent and then try to push him 2 weeks later. Like that to me was a little bit meh. But Connolly looked good. What do you think of the Connolly Parker match?
man, I'm right there with you. This was a solid match. Yeah, the Dan Parker, that is a very dead regular name. Um, and kind of obviously I'm using him from Impact, but it kind of is the same motif. Ironically, he's proven in the ring. He can go in the ring, but he doesn't pop off the screen and any type of character uh, traits or anything. He's kind of just plain Jane there, and maybe kind of like how he was in Impact. He fared better in a tag team, but even in that he kind of got lost in the mix. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe he's another guy. Maybe that's the theme of this show for us is like. Let's go down the list of the roster. Let's go down the roster and the list of the guys who clearly need managers, or just needs to join a stable and that has a manager. So
Well, I think if you wanted to get kind of funky, I don't know why I just said that. I'm sorry. If you want, you could pair Connolly with someone like that Rose Girl, Skid Row chick, whatever her name is, because they
yeah,
both kind of had that kind of grungy esque aesthetic. Caleb's got like these. I don't even know what it is. It's like a vest, I think, is what it was. So he
yeah.
has kind of more of a grunge look already. So why not steer into that skid and utilize it? That's just my 2 cents. We then got a Tim Storm promo, and he's all like, Nick Aldis is he's a real champion. I applaud him. Looks at the watch for giving me this opportunity. Okay, Tim. 42-minute show. Come on. He puts over the fact that since Billy Corgan came in, since he won the NWA World Title, and the 10 Pounds of Gold show came out, he has had a reshift in focus on who he is as a wrestler, and the perception of him has greatly changed. And he credits that to the new NWA, and he thanks them. Really sounds like he's about to retire. Then, out of nowhere, our favorite loudmouth Eli Drake comes out. He's all like, hey, Tim Storm. Dame,
Let me talk to you.
maybe it's not time to retire just yet there. And you want to hope that Eli's trying to be good Eli. But also, like, Eli's totally a shitheel. So, like, what's he doing? I don't trust you. He then's like, I got to face these bald bastards, the Akam and Tokar and Toker. Tonight, you want to be my partner? And Tim Storms are like, maybe. And that's pretty much it. Thoughts?
Yeah, it was a kind of middling along promo. I mean, look, he's selling it, man. He's selling the aftermath and the feelings. Um, Nice to get this type of reaction from somebody who actually dropped the belt, other than somebody coming out the next week throwing goddamn pancakes. So I appreciate the infusion of some type of feeling. Um, I don't know how much more. Like, I hope that he doesn't keep bringing up the thing about his mom, because that's gonna kind of get annoying to me.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like, I like him. I like him here. I mean, it's very interesting to me, as much as I kind of miss Eli Drake and Impact, how great of a fit he is in NWA, because it's more suits not only his style of wrestler, but also his mentality towards the business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's also perfect for a guy who is primarily I mean, he's proven in the ring as well, but he's primarily known for being one of those the best talkers. So this is perfect for him. But again, we know how Drake was. I mean, he kind of started off. I mean, didn't he go to Eddie to be a partner, and then we saw how that ended?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, like, he came out storm last week and gave a speech, and then this week gave a speech. I'm like, Drake is developing one of the most motivating backstabbers.
And let's not forget
So,
his former colleagues, Drew McIntyre and Micah. You can call me Micah. Okay. Oh, can I, Tongaloa? Can I, please? Tonga, shut the fuck up.
ah. But yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, we go get to the half of that later, but it's always something cooking. As cool as it is with Drake, and obviously he's just trying to find a spot right now. But we know where his end goal is, and it's got everything to do with that 10 pounds of gold. So um, don't ever get too comfortable. We can never get too comfortable with Drake, but it's always great to see him inject himself.
What was that old line from Jake Roberts back with Warrior? Never turn your back on a snake. Then we got our commercial of the week. Now, I loved the crowbars and waffles pancake. I thought that was, what the fuck is that? Crowbar and waffles commercial. That's the word
Yeah,
I'm looking for.
that was funny. That was funny.
And I've even enjoyed the Austin Idol, teach me, Austin, teach me. I don't know how I feel about the invisible hair promo. It was definitely odd, and it definitely got people talking. So obviously Billy Corgan knows what he's doing to an extent. This is the first time I think I remember hearing Josephus, because this is Josephus' former manager, so essentially. This is the first time I remember her actually speaking. I did not realize she was Norwegian or Swedish or whatever. So like that was weird, but it was fine, but definitely out there. What do you think of the commercial, Marcus?
This was completely skippable for me, because once it started somewhere, I'm like, okay, well, she's not exactly a model in the face, but okay, let's see where this is going. And like, oh, hell no, what is this? That's basically why, because this it was a hair thing, but then it had like sexual under and overtones to it, and then it's like, please, man, keep your clothes on, we get it. Like, it got weird real fast, and I hope it's the last time we get that. And the fact that you just tied it to Josephus makes sense in the worst possible way for me. But yeah, this was not it. Like, they could have just ran the teach me skit again.
Now, as I was watching this, the first thing that came to mind was Carl Anderson and AJ Styles doing the "Come Here to Maria" in New Japan. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Speaking of Josephus, he's growing his hair back and he's got an attitude and he doesn't like James Storm. So Colt Cabana comes out and they start just kind of making fun of James Storm. I don't think James Storm is the toughest human being in the world. But I do think James Storm is gonna make you pay for that. Sure shit he does. He comes out, Colt and Josephus go at it. James Storm comes out, threatens to kick Colt, Boom Cabana. Then Mr. Anderson saves Colt from a James Storm super kick. All of this is building up around James Storm's national championship. This is one of those segments I think I wasn't too much of a fan of. What about you?
Kind of thumbs in the middle for me. I like James Storms coming out kicking people just because I'm just a fan of that, specifically Josephus. I don't really care. But clicking it all with Josephus. And while I'm not big a fan of that big a fan of Cabana, and specifically when it comes to a lot of his comedy, this was kind of mild entertaining for me. Like somebody buy my gimmick, pew pew pew, that whole thing. You remember I had this will do. Like it worked. It worked here. But yeah, I don't know where they're going with this. Like I don't see the point in giving Josephus a shot when James basically dog walked him last week.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's ironically enough, watching some of these matches, I'm like, oh, it looks like somebody's actually listening to Chad when they talk about the whole thing. Of certain characters don't need to sit up here and put up a fight when they barely hold their own in the promo. You think they go do it in a match? So, you know.
The other problem that I noticed, did you hear this too? Some kind of like audio distortion throughout the episode. It felt like the crowd specifically at times was almost electronic or I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but very very hyper digitized. Did you hear that too, or was that just me?
At parts, and I'm glad you brought that up because I was wondering, and this may have to do with the fact that they're shot. I mean, it's a tape show. It's coming off like doing some of those character to crowd interactions. Like the crowd is either saying more or going longer with things than what we're actually seeing, and they're cutting it off
Mm-hmm.
to get to to let the character finish the segment because it is only an hour show.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of how it's cut it off because I'm like the way this crowd is set up, they're not just gonna, you know, quiet down on cue like that. So I feel like they might be, kind of cutting the crowd off to suit the format of the show, and it's kind of coming off that way to people who are paying attention.
I think they also did it because at times the crowd does sound more muffled, especially during the matches, and I think they did that to allow the show not to be overly flooded with crowd noise. Because that was my
Yeah,
big issue with the very first episode was that everything you did, you were fighting against the crowd noise. You couldn't hear the commentators because of the crowd noise. So I think that's what they ended up doing. So Mr. Anderson saves the day. We move on to another Nick Aldis promo with Camille. I do not understand why they're giving the lead announcer a storyline. I'm befuddled. So they even posted this on Twitter. They said, Joe Galley, looking for headlines or a clickbait or something like that. Like they're trying to imply that maybe Joe Galley isn't the award-winning journalist he appears to be. And I'm kind of just like, what?
yeah, it's definitely interesting. I actually like the other announcer more. I think who was it, Sanchez,
Marquez. David Marquez
Marquez.
does championship wrestling from Hollywood.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that guy more. I just maybe it's something about his personality or presence or whatever. But yeah, this is interesting, and it's obviously I'm guessing we leading up to Emil's eventual talking, which I'm hoping because I don't know if I've seen her talk or watched the interview or whatever, but I'm hoping it doesn't come off like, oh my God, we're gonna finally hear David Beckham speak, and then it's like,
You see this dude, and you're all like, oh yeah, who's this dude? And he looks like an Adonis. Then he's just like, you're a dead man, Ramsey. Whoa, so that's why you guys never talk, brother.
oh, it's like Camille's finally gonna speak. Like, how do you feel about Agnes? I did it. Was the right? Like, no, no,
I did
no,
it for the
no.
Magnus. Yeah, I bet you did. Watch out,
Oh
Mickey.
man,
Watch out.
oh man. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Just I mean, maybe just for that little interaction with Magnus speaking for me, because he can carry himself well. Magnus has a presence and whatever. But if he's the key component here, but it's supposed to be gearing towards obviously hyping up this guy being very persistent in his journalistic integrity, and then this best insurance policy that looks great, but then not only is she gonna sound good, is what she's gonna say gonna hold any relevance to this build up,
Mm-hmm.
or gonna equal any payoff to this build up. And I don't know if that that's gonna hold out in the long run, and then it's gonna revert back to Magnus to have to carry everything again. So um, yeah, it's gonna be interesting just how long they make this play out. But I do think the best part of this for me was Magnus kind of talking about the challenges, and um, he actually put over, my pick last week MVP was Ricky Stark.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but that was about it. I don't know what they're going with this. And again, I think you're kind of a stickler for this. It's like, oh, AEW, it's the female referee, and over here it's this freaking announcer. Like, what are you guys doing? You're supposed to get the in-ring talent over. Like,
I'm glad you pointed that out. Was I the only one that had issues with Aubrey Edwards or Aubrey, whatever her name is, getting like 15, 10 minutes last week during a show where none of the wrestlers get to have promo time? Like, damn, I know we're trying to you know, compensate for the WWE's methodology for booking, but like we can get more than two promos a night, man. Like, damn. And I don't want
mhm.
one of them to be from a goddamn referee, for who's been in the business
Yeah,
for all 2 years.
exactly. I mean, look, I get the fact. I mean, look, it's good that they're I guess kind of spotlighting every person in their organization, and not just kind of doing these are the people who more important than the little guys around them or whatever, that type of mentality. But and you and the others have pointed this out. A lot of people who are kind of kissing the butt of AEW are now pointing out the fact that we are not getting like a lot of promos, and that's huge for a show who really has to endear this audience to a lot of these faces that they do not know. Like
John Moxley has
yeah,
had zero promos.
like Jericho killed it, and then that Cody package was fantastic, but that's not enough. Like you just showing us that Darby Allin has a penchant for wanting to kill himself, and this is that and the third, and the skateboard kid, which I think is the same guy.
Yeah.
um, and a few others. But like, we need to, whatever you doing on the Elite, you need to put on some of that stuff on this show, because I know a lot of people are kind of used to this, maybe from the NXT format sometimes, but it's like they need to get a lot of this roster over, and you do that by, you know, letting them say them talk and interact with other people and just stuff. Like they could actually learn a couple lessons from the NWA in that regard.
Yeah, they could. I think the NWA's pacing is perfect. The content's not always going to be off the charts, but the way they pace is brilliant because it builds up throughout the show, and that's what you need to have. We then get a promo. Who is the Mark? This was a masked wrestler who had just one of the weirdest fucking promo packages I've ever done seen. Um, I have no words for this. I don't even know who this is going to be. So I really don't have any emotional stake in this. What about you?
Which part was this?
This was the Mark, the masked wrestler promo. Who is the Mark?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't have any, like, I'm looking like who is, like, what could this possibly be, um type of deal. I'm trying to see what show was it? Was it Impact or another show where we seen like a big guy beat up a bunch of guys in the parking lot? Was it Impact?
I don't know. I remember Samoa Joe getting kidnapped in a parking lot. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it was almost like a Lucha Underground style way that they introduced guys with a segment, but I'm trying to, like, this was like obviously after Lucha Underground. I'm trying to see, was it Impact? Because a woman was with him, and they did this. I forgot what show I was looking at it on. It may have been Impact. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know what this is or who this is. I don't.
It may have been MLW
Hmm.
because there's a few guys that would fit that bigger, heavy set description with a female. I can't remember any in Impact, but MLW I can name a few. Could have been Ring of Honor. I know we watch that so often. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, who was this masked guy? I'm guessing like he's they kind of showed us like a silhouette of him or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like the guy that would got tired of fixing cable and he wanted to do this wrestling thing.
So Trevor Murdoch.
Oh,
I'm glad he's back. I don't know why Jim Cornette was like, yeah, my good friend Dick Murdoch. Dick Murdoch was an alleged KKK member, Jim. Maybe don't call him your good friend. Your former associate, fair enough. Oy. So, main event time, we get Tweedledee and Tweedledumbass against Eli Drake and Tim Storm. My complaint about last week holds true. This was, again, another disappointing main event. It went about 5 minutes, which I'm not against, but if it's going to go 5 minutes, at least make it a match I want to watch. I don't want to see these bald dinguses. Well, bald, singular. They end up pinning Tim Storm, and Eli Drake gets dropped on the outside. Then Homicide and Kingston run down, make the save, and if I remember correctly, then Nick Aldis comes out after Homicide and Kingston drag the Dunphys, or whatever the fuck their names are, backstage. And Aldis and Eli check on Tim Storm as the show comes to a close. Main event time, Marcus. What are you thinking?
maybe a budding fruitful partnership between Drake and Storm. But against the bearded bastards, they're just kind of a thing that's in people's way right now. And I think it would be almost more entertaining if, you almost got like a type of bully situation, if you will. Although we did see from, who was normally Reckless. Why did it slip my name? Not Cash. Um, the guy who opened the show with Cornette. Why is he slipping my name?
Galley?
With Homicide.
Oh, Kingston.
Kingston, yeah, Kingston. I don't know why that slipped my mind, but yeah, shows my respect for Cornette as he was quote unquote trying to be respectful as he was trying to literally yank the mic from him. It almost seemed like it'll be more entertaining to see them kind of pick on Tim Storm and then maybe Drake come to his aid, obviously with more fine. But you know, it was a fine tag, but again, interference. Kingston, just wants to get a couple of these douchebags out of his way. But for me, I would prefer this tag team division to heat up going towards those belts. And I don't particularly care to see the bearded bastards in the middle of kind of standing in the way of teams who should be, more interesting if they clashed as opposed to dealing with these gamooks, if you will.
Gamooks. What's up, you gamook? I'm right there with you, and we've had this conversation before about deserving talent, and it's all metaphorical in essence, but I don't feel like these Denver boys, or whatever their name is, I don't think they're on the level yet of some of these other tag teams, and to push them into the main event where they're getting wins over former world champions feels inauthentic, and it doesn't feel like you're fully giving your newer talent the opportunity to get themselves over without being forced upon us. Let things happen organically. Like, this is a team that shouldn't even be in the main event yet, and you're already putting them over world champions. Like, I don't understand that logic, but then again, Billy Corgan isn't the most well-respected wrestling mind in the sport, so, what are you going to do? What you going to do, brother? All right, so grade for the show, what would you give it?
This week I'd give it a C.
I'm right there with you. I'd give it a C+.
Yeah.
Getting Thunder Rosa was a good pick. I like the promos, like with the exception of the Danger Boys, or whatever their names are. I liked every promo on the show, and the matches served a purpose to put over certain talent, which is exactly what you want. So, like, all in all, I think it was a perfect way of going about things. Main event could have been better, and I don't know why these Doofus brothers are getting so much airtime, but what are you going to do? But yeah, so those are the things I think held it back, plus the audio issues, for whatever reason that was about. I don't know. That was weird. Apparently, Impact is about to air the Dr. Wagner, Aerostar, and Taurus versus the Rascals match from Bound for Glory, so that'll be interesting if you're watching live. If not, well, what's up? Marcus, I am done with AEW Dark. I'm done with AEW Dynamite for the time being. I have not been enjoying the overabundance of flippy doodahs in the wrestling. But did you watch AEW Dark? And if so, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I caught the first couple episodes. I don't know if I'm gonna be watching the third one just because again this is so we watch so much stuff, man. It's just more time consumed. It's fine. It's okay. The showcase more guys again. This could be a thing used to kind of build up guys in terms of packages and stuff like that. Since a lot of the audience is geared toward watching that and the Dynamite show. But yeah, it's just fine. I prefer the um the weekly Wednesday shows, but that's again they both serve to have the same problem. Obviously, I think Dynamite does better at that, but that's mostly because they know they're on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be catching Dark consistently unless it's one of those times where like when 205 Live first started, and even you said, like, if it's a match that's worthy of me watching, I'll go check it out, but I'm not finna sit through the whole show.
Turns out there wasn't. Oh, jeez. That's going to piss some people off. All right, well, that's all we got for you guys this week. You can find me on my personal Twitter at ChadNerdCorp and on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. You can find Marcus on his personal Twitter at ParadoxKid, ParadoxKid.
That's me.
You can also find him on the True Penny Podcast via True Penny Show on Twitter, TruePenny We're also on the website. Every show we do, be it Wrestling Underground or whatever this Tuesday night show is going to be. I mean, frankly, I don't know if the show's even going to continue on into next week because Impact starts in earnest next Tuesday. So we'll see how this gets shaken out. Maybe we will do it because we can pound this out in a half an hour. So maybe we can do it at like 8. Yeah, so realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdCorp, or you can find us on Twitter at NERDCorp, or you can follow us, the show proper, on Twitter at a Wrestling Under G. That's WRESTLINGUNDERG. We're also on twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground and twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp. Links to our YouTube channels will be down below. Or you can just hit subscribe because you're already listening to this on one of the YouTube channels. Adoy. If you missed any of our Bound for Glory coverage, we covered Sunday. We did an immediate reaction to Bound for Glory. And yesterday, Monday, we talked about Prelude to Glory and All Glory. And Zach and I gave more detailed opinions on Bound for Glory as well, plus updating on the new signings. You can find both those shows, not just on realnerdcorp.com, but also on Podbean at realnerdcorp.podbean.com, or you can download the Podbean app and search for us on your mobile device via the app by searching Real Nerdcorp, RealNerdCorp. We're also on iTunes by searching Nerdcorp on the iTunes podcast section. I think that's everything. So, yeah. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and let us know down below if you liked NWA Powerrr this week. And if you are going to pick a side and either stop watching AEW Dark or watch both, just let us know down below. And you guys have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving us a chance. Thanks for giving us a shot. And remember to watch more wrestling. Marcus, say goodnight to the beautiful people at home on the YouTube.
Good night.